The love song. It's almost 20 past, just a few seconds, in fact, scratch that. 20 minutes right now after 9 a.m. And time for us to get straight into our moments in the current affairs, looking at all the things that have been happening in and around us that can definitely show us where we are as a nation, as a world, as a city, as a municipality, as wherever we are in our localities. It's the events that happen around us that define where we are and how we are handling things. In Cape Town, the question was asked, is South Africa ready for a woman to be Chief Justice? That's one of the questions put to the Supreme Court of Appeal Judge Mandisa Maya on Wednesday. Maya is one of four candidates vying for the judiciary's top job to replace former Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng. The question, which came from Northern Cape Judge President Pule Tlaletsi, was perhaps inevitable, but it did not sit well with the candidate for the Chief Justice post, although she said she appreciated the sentiment. But I don't think it's a proper question to ask because it implies all sorts of negative things. The short answer is South Africa has always been ready for a female Chief Justice. Maya said there have never been any shortage of strong and capable women in the Constitutional Court who were fit to lead. That question actually annoys a lot of women. She said women aren't or weren't a special group needing to be done a favor, but were just as capable as men. Powerful. In KZN, the ANC, IFP, and NFP most affected by KZN political killings. This was revealed during a briefing in Durban on Wednesday by Police Minister Bheki Cele, who provided an update on investigations led by the task team on political killings in KwaZulu-Natal. Cele said since last June, the task team had registered 32 dockets, most of which were reported before, during, and after the local government elections in November. Investigations on the political killings task team have revealed that most affected political parties are the ANC, IFP, and NFP. Motives for the crimes are linked to the intra-political conflicts, with a few cases linked to motives such as taxi violence and other domestic-related issues. Since the formation of the task team in 2018, 10 people have been sentenced to life imprisonment, while 22 accused were handed sentences ranging from 10 to 50 years. 12 accused have been sentenced to no more than 10 years, and the remainder are going through the court processes. In addition, 116 dockets not related to the task team's mandate, but somehow linked to politically related cases, either with similar suspects or with ballistic analysis, are being processed by the team for further investigation. He said in total 289 suspects had been arrested, 72 remain in custody, 43 are out on bail, and 13 had died. Charges have been withdrawn against 71 accused and 31 having been found not guilty. Over and above the allocated and parallel political party-related matters, the task team is conducting intelligence-driven operations targeting unlicensed firearms, which has resulted in 172 cases. More than 250 unlicensed firearms have been confiscated. Regions such as Pietermaritzburg, the KZN Midlands, and eThekwini remain areas of concern regarding political killings. Cele highlighted two specific cases, the first of which saw Fisokuhle Ntuli found guilty of 6 counts of murder and sentenced to 6 life imprisonment terms, one of which was for the murder of the ANC councillor Tami Nyembe. He also referred the case to Nkosinathi Mantengu, who was found guilty on 3 counts. First count of murder of IFP and taxi owner Philangenkosi Nkundlane. For this crime, he has been sentenced to 15 years imprisonment. The second count relates to the murder of Nkundlane's son, where he has been sentenced to 18 years imprisonment, and the third count relates to common assault and kidnapping, as he had been sentenced to 3 years in prison. Cele highlighted upcoming matters such as the murder trial of ANC Ward Councillor Musawenkosi Mchunu, set to resume this week in Pietermaritzburg Regional Court. 5 accused are standing trial for his murder. Mchunu was shot dead in May 2018 outside his home in Pietermaritzburg. Progress has already been made in the case of Sindiso Makaka, which is also scheduled to start in July. Still in KZN, A bleak prospect for the resounding ANC victory in KZN in the 2024 provincial government elections is driving a fierce contest for power ahead of the party's national elective conference in Durban in December. After constituting the single biggest voting bloc of the national conferences for many years, for the first time in 2017, no KZN ANC member is in the party's top six. The waning influence on the nation's stage being fueled by the kind of division that have a negative impact on the party's service delivery as government, the outcome of local government elections in November further confirmed disillusionment with an organization at war with itself and unable to attend to most of the basic needs of the residents that they expect. The consensus is that as a leader of society in the ANC in the province is no longer up to the task, that further erosion of influence and power is inevitable both at the party's national conference in December and the national elections in 2024. The provincial leadership led by Sihle Zikalala, who is also the premier, is racing against time for all regions to hold their own elective conferences before the provincial one that will seal the fate of Zikalala and his executive committee. He is under siege from internal ructions that have sent an unequivocal message that some power constituencies, such as the Provincial Women's League, want him out of power. As a formal structure that will participate directly in the conference, the Women's League deserves to be taken more seriously than the anonymous lobbyists who want the businessman Sandile Zungu to replace Sihle Zikalala. In Gauteng, an employee of the municipality made unwanted advances towards a woman when she came to book her learner's driving test and again when she came to write it. It's been a long legal battle for a woman who was sexually harassed by a municipal employee who she went to book for, and then when she went to write her driver's license test. But the Labour Appeal Court has now finally ruled that the offender must be dismissed. Sexual harassment committed by an official employee in a public sector in the course of the provision of public services to a member of the public constitutes serious misconduct insofar as it amounts to an abuse of public position of authority, acting Labour Appeal Court Judge Kate Savage ruled in recent judgment. Where such harassment is committed more than once, directed at the same member of the public, this makes it all the more serious, she said. Judge Savage, along with Judge Dennis Davis and Judge Elizabeth Kubushi, presided over a matter brought to the court by the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality, which had fired Justina Mabetwa following the disciplinary hearing in which he was found to have committed 2 acts of sexual harassment. On the day she reported to a supervisor that Mabetwa had sexually harassed her on both occasions, she said on the first occasion he had suggested he would take down her number and made sexual remarks such as, "I look like I taste nice in bed." She said she was shocked but decided to ignore this. But when she returned to write her test, Mabetwa again made sexual remarks, suggesting that he would go to her home, and when he took her fingerprints, he rubbed her hand in an uncomfortable way. Aggrieved at being dismissed, Mabetwa referred to unfair dismissal dispute to the South African Local Government Bargaining Council. The arbitrator found that it was probable that Mabetwa was guilty of sexual harassment, but that his firing him was too harsh. Mabetwa's dismissal was ruled to be substantially unfair and was replaced with a final written warning. The municipality then took this decision on the review of the Labour Court, which ruled that the complainant's version did not make any sense in barely constituted evidence establishing guilt. Referring to the fact that the complainant had not reported the first incident, the court said it was unthinkable that if she was so shocked, she could so easily let it slide and do nothing about it. The Labour Court ordered Mabetwa to be reinstated, but the municipality again was not happy and took the decision on review of the Labour Appeal Court. Judge Savage, in finding that Mabetwa's dismissal was substantially fair, took the issue with the Labour Court and handled the case. She said that the court had handled the matter more as an appeal than a review. It had not taken into account that the woman's account was not challenged by Mabetwa in cross-examination before the bargaining council. Even in his own evidence, Mabetwa had admitted that he had made some comments to her. The discrepancies in her evidence were not of such a nature as to warrant the wholesale rejection of it. She said the Labour court had questioned why the complainant had not approached a different official to help her on a second occasion. This, Judge Savage said, was without regarding the fact that she was entitled to access public service without having her rights violated, and there was no obligation on her to seek out a different official to serve her in order to safeguard her rights. In undertaking it, its task in this matter that it did, the Labour court only further contributed to her dignity. The police in Nelspruit are on the hunt for 3 armed men. The 3 armed suspects that robbed the house in Sabi on Tuesday night, the suspects fled the scene with more than a dozen chainsaws and a vehicle. South African police spokesperson Mpumalanga Brigadier Selvi Mutlala said 3 armed suspects entered a Sabi home at approximately 11:30 in the night. The family was asleep until the noisy burglars woke them up. The 3 intruders then forced open the door, and whilst doing that, everybody inside the house was woken up by a strange noise and a terrifying scene. According to the police, the suspects held the family at gunpoint and demanded chainsaws and car keys. The armed men loaded 13 chainsaws into the family's green Toyota Belter sedan and fled the scene. The vehicle was later found empty and abandoned nearby bushes. The local police station opened a case of house robbery after the incident was reported, and a manhunt was immediately launched. Mutlala said no arrests have been made thus far. Members of the public with information may assist the investigation are encouraged to contact Detective Sergeant Mopoloshi Molobela. In entertainment, the racy dancer and reality TV star Zodwa Wabantu is enjoying every minute of her relationship with Olefi Lempudi. Zodwa is seemingly in love with her Benten, so much so that she even has inked his name on her wrist. The happy couple took to Instagram to debut their new body art, which could be described as a form of professing their love to each other. In the video, Zodwa says getting a tattoo of her boyfriend's name is as old as she is. People are going to say her boyfriend is making her crazy. Despite the anticipated judgment, Zodwa explained that they got the ink for their love and happiness. In her caption on her Instagram, she referred to her man as the love of her life. Anything you want to do, go get it done, gal, do you. And of course, further afield in our beautiful continent of Africa, thousands of homes were left without power in Mauritius on Wednesday as powerful cyclone winds battered the Indian Ocean island nation. Tropical cyclone Batsirai passed within about 130 kilometers or 80 miles off the holiday paradise, bringing heavy downpour and winds of around 120 kilometers per hour, with a peak of 150 kilometers per hour recorded at the capital of Port Louis. Life was brought to a standstill with public transport cancelled, shops and banks shut, and the air and sea travel halted. At least 7,500 homes were without power after the winds knocked down the trees into the electricity lines. According to the local electricity board, telephone network was also disrupted. The reopening of schools, closed schools since November because of the spread of the COVID variant Omicron, could not take place as planned. Cyclonic conditions will persist on the island until late evening. The French island of Reunion, which lies about 230 kilometers southwest of Mauritius, was on red alert for the likely passage of Cyclone Batsirai overnight. In 2007, 2 people were killed in Mauritius and 9 hurt in Reunion when a cyclone hit the islands. Tropical storms and torrential rains have also wreaked havoc in southern Africa in recent days, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Tropical storm Anna claimed the lives of 86 people in Mozambique, Madagascar, and Malawi last week.